everyone, it's Nina. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today I want to share 5 different ways that you can use circle-shaped dies to create some really fun effects on your cards. I'm going to be using the nested circle dies from Simon Says Stamp. You can see them all here. First up, we're going to be creating a circle-shaped card and also adding some embossed details. This is really easy to do. Here's a look at the card that I have here that I created using this technique. So you can see we have a circle-shaped card, and this is very easy to do. You can use any size of circle you want for this technique. I'm going to be using one of the largest dies in that nested die set from Simon Says Stamp. Here's also a close-up look at the embossed detail that I added around the outside edges of this card. So to start off with, I'm going to be taking some Audrey blue cardstock and one of those circle dies that I had mentioned. I'm going to run this through my Big Shot machine, and once I've run it through, you'll see I have a really nice large circle here cut with my die. I'm now going to go ahead and take that same circle die and run it through again with another piece of the Audrey blue cardstock. This is going to leave me with 2 cardstock circles, which I'll be able to turn into a card base. Now before I go ahead and do that, I want to go ahead and show you how I created the embossed detail. I used one of the Sizzix Textures embossing mats and also one of the silicone rubber mats. I'm going to lay my piece of paper, which you can see I've already cut a piece out of using one of the other dies. I'll show you what I did with that in a second. I'm going to lay a smaller die on top of that circle and run it through my Big Shot machine with a cutting plate on top. This is going to emboss that circle design instead of cutting it, and it's going to leave me with a nice embossed edge to this panel. I die cut a third piece of Audrey blue cardstock to use as a background base, just that way I can have a place to be able to layer out my circles. I've cut another circle using that same nested circle die set, and this time I'm cutting it from some shimmer cardstock. I'll layer this on top of that piece, and then I'll use that smallest piece, which I had cut from the front panel of that card, to be able to pop up on top of that shimmer cardstock. And that just breaks up the design. You don't have to do this, but I liked breaking up the design a little bit with this shimmer cardstock, so I went ahead and did that. Now, after I've gone ahead and layered up my pieces of cardstock, I'm going to turn this into an actual card base. So I've already decorated the front of my card, and I'm taking that other piece of Audrey blue cardstock that I had cut in the beginning, and I'm going to add adhesive on the back side along that top area where I've added a score line. I'll go ahead and layer up these 2 circles together, and once I've done so, you can see we've attached them together back to back, so that way we have a card that opens up. It's a perfect shape, and you can't even tell that there is a fold line on this card because it's on the back side and we've attached them together. So by using your circle-shaped dies, you can create some really great circle cards that are really fun, quick, and easy. Another technique I love to do with circle dies are creating windows in my card. Windows are areas that you can see from the front of the card to the inside. So you can see here I've created this window and have these hearts floating in between that. Now you don't have to put these hearts into the window. You could leave the window plain. You could have a critter standing on top of the window. You could put acetate behind the back so that way you can't put your fingers through the hole in the front of the card. I like being able to have this die floating through in the middle of that window, and that's what I went ahead and did here. To create a window on your card, you want to go ahead and open up your card base so that way you're not cutting through both layers. You just want to cut through the front layer. I'm going to line up my die along that area of the card, and I'll go ahead and run this through my Big Shot machine. Once I've run it through, you can see we have a nice window area cut into our card, and I went ahead and saved that circle that ends up getting cut out for another card later on. I wanted to show you here how I attached those little floating hearts into my window. I just went ahead and added some adhesive along the areas that were going to overlap across the window, and then I took another piece of cardstock that I've cut using that same shape circle. I added adhesive all the way around the edges, and I went ahead and sandwiched that die in between the front of the card base and this layer of cardstock that I'm adding on the back side. That's just going to hold the die in place and make sure it doesn't go anywhere. So that's a quick look at how you can create a window card. Again, there are tons of different ways that you can create a window card and a variety of different ways that you can use them. This is just one example here. Another fun way to be able to use circle dies in a not so obvious way is to create masks and to use those masks to create inked backgrounds. That's what I'm going to do here. You can see I have this really cool festive celebrate card. This is a totally 1-layer card, so this is actually really perfect for mailing, and they're really fun and easy to create. So what I did was I went ahead and took some printer paper and I cut it from a bunch of the different circles that are included in that nested circle die set. I'm using some Simon Says Stamp die inks to go ahead and do my ink blending. You can use any types of inks you prefer. I really like the colors of these inks and I like the way that the die inks layer together. So I'm going ahead and using a variety of different colors and a variety of different size masks that I've created to create this really fun festive background. I'm making sure that I overlap these circles so that way they create a really cool layered effect. I chose to use printer paper because it's just easier and it's a lot cheaper than trying to use cardstock. If you want to be able to reuse these masks, I would definitely recommend using something a little bit more sturdier because the printer paper does rip easily, especially after you've put a lot of ink onto them. The final technique I want to share is using the negative space of your die cuts. So here's a card where I've used the negative space on this panel to frame the sentiment on my card. This is a really great way to be able to add a different element of dimension onto your card. So instead of having our sentiment popped up, we actually have the background panel popped up and the sentiment is recessed into the back of the card. It's really great. To do this technique, I went ahead and took the circle die and die cut it into this panel that I had stamped with a flower design for Prima. After die cutting that, I went ahead and used the negative portion instead of the circle itself, and that's going to allow me again to create that really cool negative effect for my sentiment. And then here's a look at the finished card where you can see that sentiment recessed into the background of the card. It's a great way to be able to frame up your sentiments and a different variation for using your circle dies. So I hope this video has been helpful in giving you some ideas for using circle dies to create some interesting effects on your cards. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below and head on over to the Simon Says Stamp blog where you can get more information including still pictures, products used, and I'll also talk a little bit more on how I finish off these cards in the blog post. Thanks so much for watching this video. Please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more inspiration. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye!